Studio One 6.5 is here, and by far the biggest update in this new version is the addition of Dolby Atmos. Let's take a look. Okay, so here I have the notes for the new 6.5 update, and while we do get a couple of new quality of life improvements, like I said, the biggest update this time around is the addition of Dolby Atmos and surround sound. Now, the way to get into that is you want to go to the start page, click on new, and then if you notice here in the templates tab, there is a new smart template called Mix in Surround. Now, if you're unfamiliar with smart templates in Studio One, they are basically pre-configured templates that Studio One gives you to get started on a specific task. And this one here is for mixing in surround. Once you click on this, you'll be able to configure this in whatever format you want. So, you could do 7.1, 5.1. It is yours to choose. And of course, you could also switch between Dolby Atmos and surround, or do a tutorial, which is what we're going to look at today. Okay, so jumping into the tutorial window here, you can see that things look drastically different, and we're going to kind of talk about what's going on here. But first, let's go ahead and take a listen. And for this, I would suggest that you put on headphones. Oh! Funky. Now, I'm not an expert in this field, but from what I understand in Dolby Atmos, instead of just mixing in a standard stereo field of, center, left, and right, you have more space to play around. You can place things top right, top left, behind you, what have you, and that just makes for more immersive mixes. Now, the one concern that I had going into this is that I was under the impression that you needed to have a special sort of, speaker setup to be able to mix in Dolby Atmos and surround, but it turns out that you don't. From what I understand, as long as you have a pair of headphones, Studio One is doing some magic in the background with algorithms and softwares and a bunch of amazing things to be able to let you mix in this Dolby Atmos, environment experience. So that is super cool. So let's take a deeper look here. The first time that I heard this sort of, like Dolby Atmos spatial audio thing in this song was with this bass layer. Take a listen. So it's moving around, but it's not just in a static right ear, left ear kind of thing. It is in a very specific spot in those locations, and that's kind of what you get with this sort of mixing format. Now, from what I understand, in this update with Dolby Atmos and spatial audio, you get two different types of panners. So the first one here is going to be what's called an object panner, and this is what's on that base layer. So if I play this again, you can see specifically where that sound is being placed. In this case, it's also being automated, but take a listen. Make sure to have headphones. Yeah. So it's not just left ear, but down left. Super cool. Now, the other type of panner here is called the surround panner. And if I were to open that up, this one's on the guitar, so let's go ahead and take a listen to that. So you can tell that it's in this space right here. It's not just left and right, but it's sort of like at a, northeast kind of direction. And what happens if I move this way? That's super cool. So now it's over here. What happens if I move it down? Oh, wait a minute. What did I just do? What happens if I... Okay, so it's more centered. And if I were to... This is like the distance, I think. And then the bottom is elevation. That's super cool. So aside from the panning modes, which I feel like is the biggest part of Dolby Atmos mixing, we also get some new plugins here, specifically a surround delay, which, this is kind of cool because now you're able to place those delays in different positions and kind of get them exactly where you need to be. So let's take a look here. It looks like the chords are being sent to this delay, so let's take a listen and see how that sounds like. That's so awesome. Now, aside from this surround delay, we also get an update to open air. And here we have some 3D impulse responses to help you create these sort of like 3D reverb. So let's take a look and see what some of this sounds like. Let me go ahead and take this, this Kabasa here, and let's add that open air. And let's set this to, let's do big stage on spaces. So if I solo this now, let's take a listen and see what that sounds like. Let's do massive cave. And of course, because this is being set to the top right in the object panner, it's being placed like right over here. This is super cool. So there you have it. We finally have Dolby Atmos in Studio One. Now, as mentioned, there were a couple little other things here and there, but really the bulk of this update was the Dolby Atmos spatial audio and surround sound integration. So if you were looking for that, we finally have it. Now, I'm going to be honest, I still don't fully understand Dolby Atmos. I feel like most of us are in that ballpark, but what I do know, or at least what it seems like, is that this is the future of audio. So it's nice to have something in our software in Studio One that can future-proof our work. In any case, what do you think? What do you think of the 6.5 update? What do you think of Dolby Atmos in general? Is this something that you're going to be using in your work? Let me know down below. Also, if you need a little bit more help with Studio One, then you might want to click on this video right over here where I walk you through some basic settings to get the most out of this software. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.